Tax the rich. You may have heard of it in YouTube comments, in the streets during parades, but if everyone's constantly preaching it, then why don't governments do it? Is it really just them considering that it's not fair, or maybe there's more to it? In reality, it's a lot more difficult to tax the rich than they really think. There's a lot of avenues that people call it loopholes, but it's really just the tax code, which we all have access to. But since they have more money, they have more avenues to use the tax codes in ways that can be beneficial to them. Just like when you are a landlord, you can use that and use it beneficially to pull into whatever other tax situation you may be in. But today I'm going to go into why it's actually more difficult to tax the rich than you may think. First, I think we should probably break open how taxes work. A lot of people think taxes are like a tier system. If you break that certain seal, then your whole tax rate is just changed. If you make $149,000, you're taxed at 20%. If you make $150,000, you're taxed at 23%. Well, that's not quite how it works. A lot of people I've heard say when they get overtime, they're actually making less when they do that than if they don't get overtime. But it's actually like a nominal system. It's a tier system, or sorry, not a tier system, but a bracket. So the money that you made that is at that within those margins is taxed at that percent. So it's the difference between a nominal versus an actual useful tax percentage. So this bottom part is taxed at 20, or I don't know the actual tax brackets, but 15%, then it's 20%, then 22, and it just keeps going up. So your nominal is which bracket is currently, and then your actual useful is what the total is based on how much you make. And obviously, when you make more, your total is going to go up, but it's not quite how people think it actually works. And then capital gains, long versus short. Long capital gains, you can actually say you invest until you retire, and then eventually you're no longer working. You can actually withdraw $40,000 of earned income, like how much is actually made from it, and it's completely untaxed as long as you don't have any other income, which you probably will through savings account and other such. But it's significantly different than short income tax, which is just absolutely abhorrent, and that's why day trading I think is kind of generally bad, because you're disadvantaged at a lot of things because you can't really time the market, and you're at a tax disadvantage because it is a short-term capital gains. But regardless, why can't the rich be taxed? The thing is, they don't have an income like me and you. They don't have an income from their business, so they can't really be taxed. They actually oftentimes use their businesses or whatever investment option they have to use as capital for loans, and the loans aren't taxed because they're just given to them, and then there's a percentage that they have to pay back. But as long as the APY on that loan is lower than the money that they have sitting in their business or investments, they're actually still making money on that. Because say they earn an 8% return, if it's a 6% loan, they're still making 2% on that cash that they have sitting. But you can't tax what they don't earn. You can once they eventually realize those gains, but if they just continue to loan over and over, you kind of run into this problem of they can't really be touched in that regard. There are people that try to theoretically try other situations like unrealized tax. The only problem is, unrealized gains. If you try to tax unrealized gains, it's kind of a messy thing because the stock market's constantly going up and down. So if you tax them at a certain amount and then it goes down 30%, do you owe them that money back? You kind of wrongfully took what they didn't even solidify. Then a lot of people worry about net worth, like especially with Elon recently surpassing $1 trillion, which is incredibly crazy. Don't get me wrong, I understand that I don't think you need more than $1 billion, but personally, but I also understand that Elon Musk personally thinks that he's going to do more with that $1 trillion than if he were to give it to the masses or the government. And I can generally see that argument holding water because he's done a lot with SpaceX, with AI, with Tesla. He's done pretty successfully. Obviously, the returns have been pretty crazy compared to the general market. But he just constantly just loans out money so he doesn't have to earn an income and he doesn't have to realize his gains. So what do you really do? You can't tax their net worth because an estimation on what a company is valued at is just that. It's an estimation. And he doesn't have that money in cash. So if you were to tax him on the money that he doesn't have, he would have to liquidate part of a company or give away stocks, and this could cause job layoffs. Could cause a lot of problems. He could lose power and make different decisions. You could eventually get different people running the organization, and they are not quite informed as, the certain person is, say Elon Musk specifically, just because I've continued to talk about him. But that's generally the reason why you can't tax the same way that you tax normal people. I think a lot of the times when you constantly preach about social justice and trying to bring order into a bad situation, you need to do more research, because this research can help first complete your full opinion on the matter, and it also helps you from just constantly saying tax the rich. If we keep raising it, you're really just taxing the middle class who makes enough to be taxed but doesn't make enough to be able to escape those taxes. It's really unfortunate to see, but the gap is just going to keep widening, and I feel like you can preach to, tax the rich, because that's obviously a ridiculous amount of money, but you should still prepare for the situation in which your preaching doesn't do anything to limit the gap, and you should still set yourself up financially, because you still can in this world. It is more difficult than it was 50 years ago, but you can absolutely still set yourself up for retirement, and a lot of times early retirement, if you are learning this stuff young enough and you have the time to use that accrued ROI over years and years. But I just wanted to generally go over the tax system and why a lot of people misunderstand how taxing the rich works and why it would be a struggle to do so. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching. Please comment all the thoughts that you have and like the video if you enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.